Good morning all. A very warm welcome to the National Robotarium. As Amos said, I'm the Chief Operating Officer here and it's my pleasure to host you over the next 2 days. Just so we're clear, Amos, there is a fire alarm test at 11 o'clock today, so please don't panic, don't rush out the door. Outside of those hours, it would be real, so please just make your way out the front exit if that does happen. But 11 o'clock today, stay where you are, you're quite fine. If you've already found the facilities, they are either side of this main stairs there. Please make use of those, and hopefully everybody's had access to the Wi-Fi codes that have been passed around now. So what I thought I'd do is I'd give you a brief introduction to the National Robotarium, what we're about. We are a bit of a double act, so bear with me while I do this. So you can see the robot to my left here. She is actually on mute right at this moment in time because otherwise I can't get a word in edgeways. They say never work with children and animals. Please include robots into that as well, okay? So what I thought I'd do is I'd share with you exactly what we are and what we do. So National Robotarium opened in September 2022. We're coming up for our 3rd birthday. We are a resource that has been added to what already exists in this fabulous campus here. But we were funded effectively by both UK and Scottish governments to be the National Robotarium. So the National is there deliberately for a reason, to let everybody know we're here as the main centre on this beautiful campus for the home of robotics and AI for the UK and wider. What we're doing is we're adding new capabilities to what already existed within Edinburgh Centre for Robotics over in Edinburgh and also within the campus here where we have a long and proud history of maritime robotics. We've added new capabilities and I'll touch on some of those in a minute. As you can see, there's one to my left right now. And we've also made sure that we are putting the right people in here to facilitate our mission. So the UK government gave us a mission that can be captured under 5 key themes. So talent and skills, T for talent, and that's all about working with universities, Heriot-Watt as our core, but Edinburgh University as well, and wider in terms of generating the next level of talent associated with robotics and AI that all of our countries and our economies are going to need for the future. We're seeing the future come to us in that way in terms of robotics. So we need to be prepared for that. We need our generations to be comfortable with that. So we don't just do universities. We start at a very young age. We start at 5 years old and all the way up, and we bring them in. We teach them about robotics, how to code, how to build robots, and basically how to understand, importantly, AI and what AI is and what it isn't. So that's very important for the next generation that we get that message through to them and their understanding of that as early as possible. We take that all the way through the school ages, secondary schools, all the way through to colleges, to university students, and ultimately on to also career transition or retraining. So those professionals who are looking for new career opportunities or new businesses wanting to adapt to the evolution of robotics and AI, we will help educate them, help them understand how it's going to benefit them and also the challenges they may face. The R is for research. So we started with T and talent, then it's research. Obviously, we're on the campus here. We are focused on research into robotics and AI for good. How do we make sure that we are understanding what's coming next and preparing the world for that? So we have a number of researchers that work within Heriot-Watt who inhabit these laboratories behind me and to the side, as well as our colleagues over in Edinburgh University who work very closely with us as well, and wider. So we have partnerships with the likes of Imperial College London, Leeds University, just to name a few. Adoption. One of the key things we do here is we need to turn that research into adoption. So how do we get businesses and organisations to understand what robotics and AI can do for them? How do we turn that into driving economic benefit, societal benefit? So with that in mind, we work with healthcare organisations looking at how robotics and AI can help the healthcare professionals. We look at industry and manufacturing, how we can increase productivity. We look at agriculture. How can we make the most efficient use of our farming lands, our livestock, and actually nurture them with minimum impact on the earth, make sure what we do is sustainable. So all of that, we can use robotics for AI. Thank you, Amika, right on cue. I did say don't work with robots, didn't I? Thank you, Amika, again. The next part, data, is also a key element of what we do in robotics and AI. So data sets, making those available for people to study and understand and make use of. And lastly but not least, entrepreneurship. You'll see within this building there are a number of other business logos dotted around. We actually have 10 resident companies in the building who are all startup spin-outs in the field of robotics and AI. And part of our job, and my job, is to support them, provide them with that wraparound, whether it be workshop support, whether it be engineering help, whether it be networking and involving them in events like this or other events where we've got people who want to explore their product. So that's a brief touch on National Robotarium. Our physical presence, as well as this grand building, which is quite striking. The ivy is real, by the way. It's to oxygenate the air. The light that you see coming into this lovely atrium was specially designed to make sure that it was as much natural light as possible. So I talked about the entrepreneurs, so incubation and co-location. You can see the office spaces. They share our workshops. They share our lab spaces as well. We also have hot desks. Our people, so we have a core staff of 26 people working, operating this National Robotarium. We have project managers, we have robotics engineers on the full-time payroll, so we're not losing them after a year or 2 years. We're growing their knowledge and we're developing their skills. So they stay with us. We also have our researchers, technicians and students all mingling in, as well as our entrepreneurs. We are one big melting pot of a community in terms of that sort of approach. Lab space. Hidden behind these walls, there is a huge amount of space that focuses on human-robotic interaction and robotics and autonomous systems mainly. So those are the two key focus areas we have there. We also have an outdoor proving ground to test robotics out in the field for real. We also have access outside of this building to things like wave tanks, living labs as well. In fact, there's actually a 2-bedroom apartment in this building, which isn't on Airbnb, just before you check. But we do have that for a specific reason. And of course, we've got robots. So we have a number of robots that both students, professionals, businesses can look at adopting and understanding what it can do for them. And we'll see some of those later. I'll touch on this very briefly. This is very important to us, very dear to our hearts. This is our statement of purpose. This is why we exist and why we're here. And we firmly believe in this. We created it together, and together we this is our working ethos, if you like. So very quickly, we use robotics and AI to help keep us safe. We use it to help keep us healthy, and we use it to help us be productive, help us develop talent, and help us shape the future. That's why we're here. We're here to do all of that. We like to do things in a certain way. We have a culture whereby we want to be easy to work with. We want our customers we treat everybody as a customer. We want them to appreciate our help. We are unbiased. We are independent, so we will give honest, good advice in terms of what robots can and can't do for you. But we want to be easy to work with. We want to have drive and energy, and we instill that in all of our people so that we deliver a positive impact on the economy and society. And taking all that in brief, we are going to talk to a robot in a minute, actually. Primary focus area is we are that multiplier effect. That's what we are aiming to do. We're aiming to take industry adoption, accelerate research, startup support, and talent and skills, and we want to be the flywheel that drives that acceleration within the UK economy and wider. In order to do that, this is how we see ourselves. We see ourselves as basically the robotics ecosystem. We are the connecting piece, whether that be through social care or industries, research, healthcare, whatever it may be. We see us as the ability to connect these organizations under the umbrella of robotics and AI. So I thought what I might do now is we're going to introduce you to Amica. I think some of you already had a conversation, but you'll notice that she's moving her lips a lot and not saying very much, so I'll just rectify that for you very briefly. Let's have a look. So luckily, the creators have given me what they call the mute button. So Amica's now awake for a second. And I'm not sure why she's talking that language. So, let's have a chat with Amica. I'm going to move across.
Harika. Başka bir şey var mı? Lego. Başka bir...
Good morning, Amica.
Hola, Steve. ¿Cómo te va? Buenos días. ¿En qué puedo ayudarte hoy?
My Spanish isn't very good. Do you mind if we switch to English?
Of course. We can continue in English. What would you like to talk about?
Well, could you tell me what you can see, first of all?
I see. I see a group of people in a modern indoor space. There's a gentleman in the foreground wearing a dark suit, The room has a stylish design with geometric patterns on the walls and greenery above. A few people are standing and others are seated, some holding phones or wearing name badges. It looks like a lively gathering.
Yes. Do you know where you are?
I'm at the National Robotarium in Edinburgh. What brings you here today?
What event is taking place on the 2nd of September?
The event at the National Robotarium is hosted by the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy. It's focused on fostering dialogue, understanding, and cooperation across borders. The gathering aims to advance peace, reconciliation, and shared humanity. It's a wonderful opportunity to build bridges and promote solidarity.
I have a little challenge for you.
Sure thing. What's the challenge? I'm here to help.
Create a poem about culture.
Culture is such a fascinating topic. It's all about the traditions, values, and expressions that shape communities. What specific aspect of culture are you interested in?
Can you create a poem about culture?
I'm curious. What would you like to
The
create
answer is no
related
to
to
that.
culture?
I'd like you to create a poem about culture.
No worries. Culture is such a rich and diverse subject.
She did that earlier.
Art, traditions, or language, it brings people together and shapes identities. Do you have a specific cultural topic in mind?
Not at the moment, Amika. So I think a round of applause would be good for Amika. She did very well. And she will appreciate that very much. So she can take her bow later. What I thought I'd do is, the reason I've shown you that is, has anybody ever witnessed a robot of this nature before? Just a quick show of hands. Yes, you have, since before you came here. Okay. This is an insight into the world that we're going to be living in. What I've got for you now is a few short videos that I'm going to show you where robotics are, and this is the world that we live in. So I'm going to start with one called Figure 1. This is actually about 18 months old. So very quickly, the world is moving on. So this is where we're starting from, around about 18 months ago.
At Figure 1, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Great. Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great, so based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great, can you put them there?
Of course.
I'm going to stop that one there. So this is over 18 months ago. So you can see the level of dexterity and reasoning in this humanoid robot is quite stunning. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to show you the next sort of phases of robotics development in humanoids. So I'm going to sort of not play you the whole video just for the sake of time, but I'm going to give you a flavour of what the world is looking like. So this is now moving on a little bit a step further. Again, not very human looking like, but if you watch the dexterity of this robot, it's quite incredible in terms of what it can do and the speed it can do it. Some of these I don't recommend trying at home, by the way, by yourself. This one particularly. So what we have here is a robot now that can reason where objects belong with a little bit of training in the background, and can then use its manipulation and its dexterity to actually pick up the pieces and put them in the right place. This is probably something every parent would dearly love to have on a much bigger scale. But again, what you're seeing now is the movement is a little bit more fluid and a little bit quicker in terms of the robot's ability to actually put things in the right place. And who wouldn't want one of these in the home? I can't even do that. So again, this is showcasing the level of dexterity and visual recognition in performing tasks. You heard Amica describe the environment that she was in. This robot's using the same technology to understand the objects in front and then using its training and its algorithms to actually perform the task associated with the object that's in front of it. Now, I'm fairly sure we'd all like somebody like that. Okay, what I'm going to do there is I'll pause that one and we're going to advance. So this is still 12 to 18 months ago. I'm moving on to the next one. Slightly different agility. This was Boston Dynamics pivoting and changing direction from the very bulky, what they called Atlas robot. They announced that they were no longer pursuing Atlas to then suddenly announce, actually, we're doing Atlas this way instead. So now we've got a humanoid robot that can actually move around freely, is very agile, and this is the first iteration 18 months ago, and can do visual recognition, has fingers that can grip with, and walks in a very human-like way. So you can see the agility there. Moving on a step further, I'll very touch on this. What comes after humanoid robotics? Then we're looking at autonomous vehicles, cobots, mobile robots, and drones. These are the things that become part of the journey from humanoid robots. What we're going to find is humanoid robots will become very more adaptable in terms of working within our environments rather than us changing the environment to suit them or to suit an autonomous robot like a cobot. Just to give you a bit more of a flavour. So what's next? So right up to date right now, this is what we're seeing. Now note the starting price. All right, $16,000 for a robot that can do this. And there's one next door. We have one here. This robot can also use ChatGPT in the same way that Amica does, so it can have a conversation with you. Doesn't have such a friendly face, but can actually do meaningful tasks and be quite friendly as well. As you can see, it has balance, it's very stable, so it can walk through uneven terrain. I don't recommend doing that, by the way, to your robots. And then there's the upgrade. So the quick upgrade that it received was the ability to actually run a marathon. So we've got robots now, slightly different gait, more fluid movement, and this is now less than 6 months ago. There we go. So the applications for a humanoid robot that can move over terrain like this open up new potentials, if you like, in terms of search and rescues, patrolling, keeping people safe, companionship, walking your dog perhaps. And then I'm going to move on to, this is now where Atlas has got to. So this is the latest generation of Atlas, now with extra learning. And I would invite you to observe the fluid movements here that we see. And that is very, very close to human movement, as you can see. And in my case, probably a slightly better in terms of one. So as you can see, very stable, able to be very fluid in terms of its agility. So these are real now. These aren't in the next 5 years. This is right now. So the question we'll all be asking ourselves is, how long before we see these in people's homes? Well, to give you a clue on that one, let me show you two more video clips. The first one is the next iteration of the figures that you saw right at the beginning. This took 18 months to get to this point. And now what we've got is an artificial intelligence base that allows robots to now communicate with each other in terms of performing tasks, as you'll see.
Okay, I'd like to try something new. Even though this is the very first time that you've ever seen these items, I'd like you to use your new Helix AI and try to reason through where you think they belong in the scene, and then work together to put them away. Does that sound good?
I'd like you to spot the controversial moment in this piece, by the way. So because these robots are on the same network, they're able to reason where items go and understand which robot is in the best position to actually perform the task. So through their connectivity, they're now able to pass items to each other and go, well, that reasons that belongs in the fridge, so they'll pass it across. So what you've got here is the beauty of this is once a robot learns, one robot learns, all robots learn because they're all interconnected now. So you could have another 100 of these robots all able to do this task after the basic training. Now, I'm not sure that I put ketchup in my fridge, and this is the controversial point. Now, the reason there to move the bowl over to the other robot so that they can put the apple in the bowl, that's quite a feat of engineering as well as programming in terms of that understanding and that visual recognition. Okay, so my very last video for you, in fact, I won't show you this. Well, actually, we'll show you this very, very, very quickly. So make them useful is the next stage. How do you get these humanoid robots to carry out meaningful tasks? So this is actually an Atlas deployed in a warehouse, a car factory, manufacturing area. And it's actually sorting out fully autonomously where the parts belong, ready for transportation to the next space. So you've now got a humanoid augmenting the humans in terms of ability to move equipment around, place it in the right place, stack it in the right orientation so that it's ready for the next task. If we take that a step further, and I know that you're going to like these ones in particular, this is Tesla. So we haven't talked about Tesla yet. This is their Optimus robot here now, actually doing meaningful, useful tasks, targeted more for a domestic environment. But as you can see, the robot's being trained to do very basic tasks like sweeping up the rubbish, putting the rubbish in the bin as you saw, tearing paper off a paper roll. Now again, as you heard me mention before, once one robot learns these tasks, they all do. But the way these robots are being trained is what is unique, and we'll come to that in a second. So this is the Tesla factory. See, they're going all in. They're training robots in every single task they can possibly think of. And the way they're training them is getting them to mimic human action specifically. And I'll show you in a second. So here's all the robots being trained. And the way they're training them is fitting human beings with cameras and filming the human being doing the task and the robots learning from that video footage in how to do the task. So it's almost as if you were teaching a child or another adult how to do something. That's basically how they're learning. I think I've probably run out of time there, Tasmina. I'll leave it there for you. Hopefully, I've given you a lot of food for thought, and hopefully I've shown you that humanoid robots in your everyday life are an awful lot closer than you might have thought. Thank you very much.